Hey y'all, this is going to be a video covering Google Cloud Functions, processing a webhook payload, and then converting that payload into a format that BigQuery can store. And then once the data is stored in BigQuery, then kind of restructuring that so that you have a more tabular view of the data. This is just a brief little diagram illustrating that. This is the code that we're going to use. I'll link that below. So let's just go ahead and get started with that. If you've never created anything inside of the Google Cloud Platform, it's pretty straightforward. If you are just getting into it, you will have to come in here and then click New Project. This one is brand new. I just created it for this video. I enabled the APIs that will need to be enabled, which is going to be BigQuery and then Cloud Run Functions. So these two will need to be enabled. And then actually the BigQuery API I think will also need to be enabled too, because our function is gonna call that. So let's go ahead and create our table inside of BigQuery, and then once we do that, then we'll create the function. So what we will do, once you have enabled BigQuery, it'll load for a second, and then you'll see this. So this is the name of the project that we're in, which is up here. And then we will create a data set, which I did right here. This is the one that I created. And then within that, we'll create a table. And then you can name it whatever you wish. And then here we're gonna have 3 fields. We're gonna have an ID. We're gonna have a timestamp, which is going to be a timestamp, and then content, which is also going to be a string. Then you click Create Table. I've already done that, so I'll just use the one that has already been created, and then that's going to be the result right here. So now that we have that, I'm going to keep this up in this tab because we'll need that in just a second. Let's go ahead and create our function. So as you can see right here, I already have one. We'll just make another one though, just so you can see it from scratch. So this is going to be webhook parse. We're going to keep this HTTPS. This is our URL, so you can copy that if you want, and but it's going to show us that whenever we're done. I'm going to change this to allow unauthenticated. If you're dealing with more sensitive data, I would recommend turning this on and then getting that configured with Cloud IAM, just to authenticate that request and make it a little more secure. So all of this we can keep default. We don't really need to change anything in there. So let's go ahead and click Next. And then here is where we can change the content of index and package. We can go ahead and do that. I'm going to link the code that I've generated in the description. You can use a different runtime if you want, but JavaScript works good, so we can just use that. So here is the index.js. We can load that in here. You will need to change the entry point to the name of the function, which is handle webhook. And then we'll take the package.json and we will put that in here. So I left this up because we need that for the function. So this is the project ID, this is the dataset ID, and this is the table ID. So we're going to replace this with that, and then this here. Everything else will leave the same. We're referencing those variables down here, so we just define it once, and if there's other things you want to do with the data, you can create that here. This is actually where we're creating the row that's going to be inserted into the table. So we can go ahead and click deploy. So here is our URL. I'm going to use Postman to test it. So we can just paste that here. For the body, I just generated some random JSON data. So we can keep that there. Before I click send, I'm just going to wait for this to finish building. And once that is done, we can then click send, and we should expect to see a row inside of here. I have one in here already from earlier that I was testing. So now that this is done, what we will do is put that here in Postman. So let's just send it and see what happens. So this happens due to the response header being too large. That's okay, it should still work. Let's go over here and look at the logs from our function and just see if it did accept the data. This is it starting up. Okay, it looks like it did. This is the data that it received. This is the ID that it had inside of BigQuery. So let's go ahead and look at that inside of here. Okay, awesome, there we go. This is it right here. This one was from earlier, I tried to delete it. I think because the table is connected to a function that I'm getting an error. I was trying to troubleshoot it earlier. This is the error that I get. If anyone knows what this means, let me know. I'd be curious to see. But so we have the JSON here. Earlier, I went in here and gave ChatGPT the contents of the JSON, and then asked it if it could extract that data, so like key value pairs, and then putting that into a transformed view. So it gave me this, which is pretty cool. And let's just try that out and see what we get. So this is gonna make a new view called parsed data. I wanna ignore this one, or let's just make it so it only shows us this one, just because the JSON content in this one isn't the same structure as in here. So it might even give us an error. So let's just only see the one that we just created. Oops. Oh. Where ID equals. Oh, fancy. Okay. Let's just do where user ID is this. Okay. Let's ignore all previous attempts. Okay. So it just makes it null if it doesn't fit into the structure that we define in the view. But yeah, as you can see, it even makes these orders into its own JSON, so we could extract that out even further, create a row for each order if we wanted to, but this is just a good starting point. I really like the idea of having everything inside of here. You're not having to have a home for the webhook URL and then another home for the data storage. This is good to have all right here. You can there's some really cool stuff inside of Google Sheets where you can just pull that data straight in from BigQuery. But yeah, I think this is super cool. We have this function here. We can look at the logs as they come through. So we could even we could change this to that. We can send another one. You can see just how quick this works. So yeah, there we go. We have another one right there. So yeah, if you have any questions, or if you know what that error meant, where it was talking about streaming data, where I couldn't remove that, let me know. I'd be curious to see what the reasoning is. But yeah, if you like the video, like the video, comment on it with any questions or anything like that. Give me a subscribe if you wish. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.